seen you in ages.
Oh, Premier Ford, how are you?
Oh, so it's just, you brightened up my whole day. Anyways, first of all, thank you everyone for joining us today, and we had a great conversation. As you see, I brought a couple of my colleagues, two great mayors from London and Kitchener, just great allies, and it's a all government approach, no matter if it's federal or provincial or municipal. It's all about Team Ontario, Team Canada, and really communicating to our American friends, informing how important our relationship is, and building the AMCAN fortress I've been talking about for quite some time to make both countries the wealthiest, richest, safest, most prosperous two countries in the world. They understand it. These tariffs, in our opinion, a lot of people's opinion, it's just going to hurt Americans and it's going to hurt Canadians. We don't want to do that. We want to work collaboratively together with, as we were saying in the room and you heard, family members. And you don't attack a family member. So I'll be open to questions now. And
Premier, yes, we just had a gentleman at the podium saying that he had a very good message. He's an American, but it was only about a third of the room were Americans. How do you get in front of more Americans on the trip, make sure the right people hear the message rather than preaching to the choir?
Well, great question, Brian. We're going to an event tonight. We'll be networking with senators at those events as well, and Congress men and women. And we have separate meetings. I know my colleagues, all the premiers, are down here as well, that have been setting up a meeting. And make no mistake about it, you know, the White House knows we're down here. All the elected officials know we're down here. The American people know we're down here because we care. We care about this deal. We care about the Kuzma deal or USMCA, whatever you want to call it, and just getting our message out. We're stronger together. No matter if it's our energy, our manufacturing, or the aluminum steel, how important aluminum steel plays in the role down here. So we're getting the message out, and we're happy to be down here. And I'm very happy that the mayors came, and my two ministers, I guess I can't call them ministers, but my two colleagues.
Well,
Premier,
Mr. Ford, you raised a... Sorry, Katie, go ahead.
How do you know the White House knows that you're here, number one? Do you have any meetings with anyone within the Trump administration at this point? And number two, do you not see this as the way that Donald Trump has talked about Canada, has talked about tariffs? Is his mind just made up?
I don't know. I can't say. I can't speak for the president, but I think everyone knows mind can change. What I was concerned about, he said we had a 30-day, little break, negotiation time, and a few days later, all of a sudden, these tariffs come. So we just have to get our message out about we're stronger together. That's the message we want to deliver to the American people and to the elected officials down here.
You raised the fact you can't call them ministers because you can't be called premier because you're actually a campaigning politician, even though you said you don't like politicians. But we'll set that aside.
I've said that a few times.
Yeah, but I'm just curious. Was it a mistake to call an election now? Would it not have been better to maybe go in before Trump's inauguration if you wanted an early campaign, rather than you're in the middle of this, so you're wearing two hats and you're here at the I guess the Progressive Conservative campaign is paying for you to be here, but then you have Ontario government material that you're distributing.
Well, thanks for that question, Rob. You know, we have to outlive and outlast the Trump administration for 4 years. We need a strong mandate from the people of Ontario to carry on our mandate, making sure that we create a strong economic environment for companies to come and invest in cities like London and cities like Kitchener and other cities around this province. That's what we need, and that's what we're asking the people.
Yeah, but was it a mistake not to go earlier? Because you are wearing two hats now, and there is your opponents back home are saying that you're campaigning, you're breaking the caretaking convention by campaigning while you're a government official.
Yeah, I got cleared by the Integrity Commissioner, but that's here nor there. The Canadian people want us here, not just Ontarians, Canadians. They want all the representatives, all their premiers here, and we're Team Canada right now, within all 10 provinces and 3 territories, and we're working very well together.
Mr. Ford, now, in your mind, right now, are you the Premier of Ontario, or are you the
Yes.
PC party?
I am the Premier of Ontario, officially. I'm still the Premier of Ontario until I'm no longer the Premier of Ontario. But let's hope that doesn't happen.
So why did the PC party pay for your private jet down here?
Because I don't want to go and take money out of taxpayers' pockets. We're in an election mode right now, I understand. And also the opposition thought it'd be a good idea that we pay for it ourselves. And that's one thing I agree with John Fraser about, when he says the party should pay. So, see, John and I agree to some things once in a while.
Since yesterday's executive order on steel and aluminium, are you reconsidering retaliation, including reviewing or cancelling the Starlink contract or other measures?
Yeah, I always say everything's on the table right now. Let's see. We'll have an opportunity till I think it was March the 13th, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll be in full discussions with our colleagues here. We'll be talking today and tonight with my fellow premiers, along with the federal government. And believe me, there'll be retaliation. That's the last thing we want to do.
Premier, what Ontario tax dollars are actually going into your trip? Like, for instance, the brochure, tonight's reception, logistical help. What are Ontario taxpayers paying for related to this trip?
Well, the government workers, any political side, we're paying for. But I always ask, ask the people of Hamilton. Ask them if it's important that I'm down here. Ask the people from Sault Ste. Marie if it's important that I'm down here. Be it Dofasco that I visited the other day, or Stelco, or Algoma, is very important because everything's tied in one way or another, be it steel, aluminum, critical minerals, energy. That's what we're focused on.
Mr. Ford,
It is a wasted effort. I mean, we just heard from a trade lawyer who basically said the tariffs are coming, yet we spent all this money on a commercial. You have this huge delegation here. We have a room full of people from Canada listening to your speech as opposed to Americans. Is this a wasted effort?
Well, I'll just correct you. It's not a room full of Canadians. There was a lot of Canadians, but a lot of Americans were there. And one of the largest lobbying firms in the country, if not the largest, is the American Chamber of Commerce, and we have their people here. So it's very important that we get the message out. And the most powerful tools, there's many, but two of them are the American people calling their senator or their congressperson and voicing their opinion. The numbers that we heard in there, and you heard, Americans don't feel it's right to attack their closest friend and treasured ally. They don't believe in that. So we're going to continue communicating. The worst thing we could do as a country is not show up. That sends a message to the president that we don't care. We care. We care tremendously. We care not only about the Canadians, we care about our American family as well.
But Mr. Ford, what is it going to take to actually get through to President Trump? Everything the Canadian effort has done so far has only delayed what seems to be inevitable. What does it take to actually get through?
Well, Katie, another great question. I actually miss you down at Queen's Park. Maybe we'll ship you back with no tariffs because you're a good person and a good reporter. But, let's all face it. There's no secret. President Trump is probably one of the best negotiators in the world. This is his area of expertise, but we need to sit down. And it's not always just the president. He has great advisors. He has very important key allies that sit in the Senate and sit in the Congress that he needs their support. So we're going to continue communicating our message about the AMCAN Fortress and just working the room, working Washington. And it's so important that
Can we get your comments on Trump's words about the auto industry specifically? And they've been echoed by some of his people like Howard Lutnick. They seem to believe that Ontario stole the auto jobs, that they didn't exist until recently. It's like they compare it to Mexico and the plants going there in the 90s. So can you respond to that?
Well, first of all, that's another reason I'm here, to inform accurate statements, not statements are inaccurate. The facts are, we buy as many cars from the U.S. as we ship down there. The fact is, 50% of cars we're shipping down there have American parts. The fact is, the steel that they're putting the tariff on, that steel from the U.S. is manufacturing a lot of the cars, not all of them, but a lot of them. So that's the message we're getting down there. The aluminum, they're tariffing. So this is really, really important. You know, this is where the Canadian public can play a role. So Quebec ships down endless amounts of aluminum because Americans need it. Not that we're just shipping down there, Americans need it. Their aluminum capacity is way down here. If they didn't have imports come in, they'd be lost. But in saying that, so, you know, the delicious beer that all you guys like to have on a hot summer day, those cans, that aluminum comes from Quebec, goes down to the US, it gets printed, they put added value on it, it gets shipped up, and they get filled in Ontario. Same with, without naming the big beverage companies, the big beverage companies, they get their cans made in the US from Canadian aluminum. Added value goes in, they print them, they go up, and they get filled. And it's no different than other supply chains. As I mentioned in there, you can't just flick a switch and unscramble the eggs. You know, you just have to make a bigger omelet, as we say. And that's what we need to do.
Do you think Canada should speed up or attempt to speed up the renegotiation of the USMCA? Do you think that this is where it's all headed?
I think so. I think it's important. Let's get a deal. The only thing certain right now in both economies is uncertainty. And nothing scares companies more than uncertainty. And nothing scares people more. You don't know if you have a job today or tomorrow. That's concerning.
But Trump negotiated the USMCA last time. He said it was a great deal. Was he lying then, or is he lying now?
No, I wouldn't use that word lying. I'll tell you one thing. I read I saw a book.
Yeah.
Inside, the greatest deal ever, he said.
Yeah.
Remember those lines.
Yeah.
And now it's not the greatest deal. Well, if he wants to tweak it or whatever, that's what negotiations are all about. Making sure that a good negotiation is when both parties walk away from the table not 100% happy.
Do you think we need a federal election first? Do you think we should have a federal?
Yes.
Wait, but could you expand why you think we need a federal election first?
Yourself, sorry, and then yourself right after.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Sorry.
Laura.
Sorry.
A lot of what you got into today was
Okay.
over on the federal side of things, right?
What just happened there? But
Sorry, I thought you said me.
No.
first.
Just
You said Laura first.
No, but
So
what's
yes, to
happening on
answer
the
your question, yes, because there's uncertainty right now in the federal government and around the world. You know, people are concerned who's running our country. Prime Minister Trudeau will be stepping back on March the 9th. I can't even keep track of the dates. The new leader will be put on March the 9th. People want certainty. Let's go to the people.
Okay, Carly, I have a last question.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You ventured into a lot of federal government territory in levied and fireside chat, taking on the digital service tax, and also foreign affairs. Is this really what the Ontario Premier should be doing, is being so critical of the federal government and federal government policies at this point in time?
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Right now, I think there's a little bit of lack of leadership, to be frank with you, on the federal side, considering we're the economic engine of Canada. We do over $500 billion of two-way trade, third largest trading partner in the world to the United States. I think we need a voice. I think our municipalities behind me need a voice. I'll give you an example. Toronto alone makes up 50% of our GDP in Ontario. They need a voice. Maybe, you know, I always believe in working together, collaboratively. I don't give two hoots what political stripes people come from, and I think I've shown Ontario people that, as long as it benefits Ontario. That's what I'm concerned about. But folks, thank you. I think we'll get together.
What is Ontario doing
a
to
couple more times later.
Quick question here. What is Ontario doing to protect the steel and aluminum industry in the face of these tariffs?
Well, this is why we're down here, making sure we voice our opinion. You heard some of the colleagues, American colleagues down here, saying this is not good. You know, we aren't banging down the door to the U.S. and saying, take more aluminum. They need it. They need it for the military. They need it for the manufacturing might, and we're going to be shipping it down there. And it's no different than steel. What I'm concerned about is Canada and American interests. They're good. It's China